I am a family farmer, and we do farm 300 acres in Lenawee County. I'm a Michigan Sierra Club water sentinel, and I've been water monitoring for the past 13 years over in Lenawee County, Michigan. And we have 12 CAFOs within a 10-mile radius. And over the past 13 years, we've shut down 4 of them. Okay? My job as a water sentinel is to protect and restore America's water. Water is not an infinite resource, and 71% of the Earth's surface is water. 1.7% is groundwater, and 2.5% is fresh water. 1 billion people in the world do not have safe water. That's not drinkable or potable, but safe water to even get cleaned up in. By 2025, half of the world will be facing water issues. By 2030, the demand will exceed the supply by 50%. 70% of this usage is for agriculture. And being a farmer, I'm not going to be quiet because what I'm seeing is corruption and mismanagement on the ground. 30% of this water is used for irrigation. Another 40% of America's rivers, 46% of the lakes are polluted that you can't fish or swim or have aquatic life. When I do water sampling, we don't find bugs in the water, we find bloodworms. It's contaminated. Polluting our water is the biggest single misuse of water with mismanagement and corruption in this country. It has to stop. In Lenawee County, over the past 13 years, we have had the state agency come down. We have 1,080 violations documented by our state officials. We have taken them up in the plane. We use Lighthawk, who is an environmental flying organization. They take you up for free as long as you explain what you're using it for and how you're going to educate people with your photos. And we've had the state agency up on 4 of those flights. So we're making a difference. We've found 11 sites that they DNA'd that have cryptosporidium, and 1 with infectious crypto directly out of the tile from a CAFO. And we had 8 sites with Giardia. The Eastern Michigan University came down and did antibiotic testing, and we actually laid out the coordinates of the area and showed that it was a tile that had 5 different antibiotic resistant right from the facility. We have groundwater contamination with arsenic, manganese, and iron, and we have over 60 lagoons with almost 400 million gallons of waste that's applied untreated on the land from these 12 CAFOs. We have Lake Erie. We are the headwaters of Lake Erie, and you're hearing more and more of the toxic dead zone and the toxic blue-green algae. When we have discharges now of waste in our water, we see algae outbreaks as soon as the discharges happened. We've started a new campaign in Michigan, and we're very excited because it involves the Natural Resource Conservation Service EQIP program, which is the Environmental Quality Incentive Program through the Farm Bill. We have now studied, and there's 104 practices with 1,032 variations that your tax dollars are paying for. But only 53 of those practices have 439 variations for organic or sustainable farming. The others are for larger facilities, and many create problems such as subsurface drains, which are field tile they place beneath the surface. They get paid 100% to put them in and then apply liquid waste over them that reaches tile lines in seconds. And we're seeing other practices, and one of the big ones is the irrigation. And I want to explain to you what's happening in our area. When they put irrigation wells in, they have each well drilled under a different name. So each well has a different owner. And then they have several businesses that they're using for that facility that they're collecting subsidies under each different name. At one point, we had one facility with 12 different names. We must change the practices and standards that are no longer adequate to protect water, the environment, or public health. Anyone that has went to the NRCS subsidies will see that a CP52 is never done. It's an optional thing to even look at the natural resources for risk evaluation when they give out the money. It's optional. We must make it mandatory. Other things we see are waste lagoons that they can get over $200,000 to put in a manure waste lagoon. These are all posted on our website now. We have put the practices out there because small farmers cannot even find out how much they can get to get started or do sustainable practices or pasturing. In Germany, they pay farmers to switch to organic because it's actually cheaper than removing the farm chemicals from water supplies. There's many things we've done. We've done information to the federal agencies and the state agencies asking them when they apply chemicals to the fields that have been applied with waste, what is the reaction on the food? And they can't answer us. These are all things we look at on the ground. And we've come a long way because we have documented, we go out 3 to 5 days a week, we test the water. We document practices, we write comments on permits, we actually do layouts of facilities. We can take 6 websites and find a CAFO anywhere in the country. We can tell you what subsidies he gets, where he's located, and who's operating it, how many animals, their waste management, everything. And these are things that you can do here too, so we can get you brought up to date. The things that we can do to make a difference, we can start letting, when you file complaints, we need to let the federal agencies know too to hold the state accountable for what they're doing. And we need to enforce the Clean Water Act. We must stop using our wetlands as dumping zones. We must also start producing food locally. And we must raise what the land and water can sustain, and then the land and water will sustain us. These are all things. We must eliminate subsidies for practices that are not sustainable. We must change our diets. We must start giving subsidies for food that is produced for human consumption and not for animals. People are starving in the world, and we need to start raising food for people. There's a lot of things we can do, and I want to kind of give you an example. A hamburger uses anywhere from 4,000 to 18,000 gallons of water to produce one hamburger. 1 pound of corn uses 110 gallons of water. 1 egg uses 400 gallons of water. An orange uses only 13 gallons. A potato uses 100 gallons. A pound of wheat uses 110 to 250 gallons. And 1 pound of chicken uses 500 gallons. We must change because it is the right thing to do. And I want to explain that since I've won the Goldman Prize, that this has gotten the word out across the country. We've been in magazines, Shape, Self, Christian Science Monitor. We've been in Oprah. We've been in a lot of different things, and we've been to the law schools across the country doing speeches and stuff. And as a farmer, I am excited to know that we are making a difference, and you are the heroes for the next generation because you're here, you're now, and you want change. And we have to make a difference together, and we have to start doing it together. We do have groups coming together across the country to start getting things rolling so we can start making a difference and helping communities across the country pull together as one and speak with one voice. Because it's what we drink and what we eat and how we produce our food, the air we breathe, and everything that will predict what we're going to do tomorrow. And I think that everyone here wants their children and grandchildren to see clean water and a clean future. My 4-year-old granddaughter plants garden now. she's learning how to raise food for herself, and she enjoys it. And I think we've missed the occupation of teaching children how to raise food for themselves for the next generation. And I think that it's time for change. Thank you.